People think all 2026 World Cup cities are tourist paradises, but the safety reality across these 16 host cities spans from Vancouver's secure downtown to Mexico City's neighborhoods where locals report a 90% perception of insecurity, a gap that could cost you thousands in emergency flights home, or worse. I've walked these streets, and what I found contradicts the glossy stadium marketing. 5 years from now, you'll still remember the moment you realized Boston ranks as one of the safest host cities according to multiple crime rankings, while Mexico City sits at the most dangerous end with 90% of residents reporting they feel unsafe. I've walked through both cities during peak tourist season, and that gap isn't just numbers. It's the difference between confidently exploring after dark versus carefully planning your every movement. To help you survive and thrive during this tournament, we are breaking down the critical reality of every single host city. Let's start with the region where your daily strategy has to change the most. Mexico, where your safety strategy must change. Cross into Mexico, and everything shifts. Crime risks are highest in the 3 Mexican host cities, driven by elevated rates of petty and violent crime plus known cartel presence. This isn't fear-mongering. It's preparation reality. In Guadalajara, 92% of residents view their area as insecure in early 2026. That statistic increased sharply following the recent cartel leadership shakeups and instability in the region. When I visited Guadalajara, the tension was palpable even in tourist areas. Here's the critical intel. Guadalajara sits in Jalisco state, which carries government travel advisories, though both the US and Canadian governments specifically exempt the Guadalajara metropolitan area if you stick to central tourist zones. That exemption isn't a guarantee. It's a conditional safety zone that requires you to follow specific protocols. The cartel reality affects your daily decisions. Steps to reduce your risks include traveling in groups, staying strictly within tourist areas, using only official transportation, and avoiding nighttime travel completely. I tested these protocols during my visit. Official ride shares like Uber work reliably, but street taxis are genuinely risky. The $15 difference in cost between an Uber and a street taxi could save you from a $5,000 emergency evacuation, or worse. Mexico City presents a different challenge profile. Safe neighborhoods include Roma Sur, Polanco, and Centro Histórico, with Estadio Azteca located in the relatively low-crime Coyoacán neighborhood. But here's the altitude factor nobody talks about. The stadium sits at high altitude, over 7,200 feet above sea level. This heavily affects travelers unaccustomed to elevation. Security is robust on match days, but risks increase rapidly outside controlled zones. I experienced this firsthand during a test visit. The thin air and smog hit harder than expected. I was genuinely winded walking up stadium stairs that would have been easy at sea level. Hydration here becomes critical, not optional. Monterrey rounds out Mexico's trio with its own complexity. Despite baseline risks, the affluent San Pedro Garza Garcia neighborhood and the downtown core have enhanced security protocols, with Estadio BBVA representing Mexico's most modern stadium security. The proximity to the US border provides some psychological comfort, but rival cartel groups operate in each host city, and ongoing violence episodes are likely to continue. The transportation costs reveal the hidden safety tax of the tournament. In Canada, transit to stadiums costs under $5. In Mexico's cities, secure transportation can run $25 to $50 per trip, but that premium buys you verified drivers and tracked routes, which is worth every peso when you're navigating these areas. Around 50,000 police and security personnel will be deployed alongside over 65,000 FIFA volunteers, making proactive planning essential for managing heightened security risks. But that massive security presence focuses mostly on stadiums and official fan zones. Your hotel-to-stadium journey, late-night dining, and exploration time exist in the gaps between those protected bubbles. Given the massive safety gap between these regions, which World Cup host city are you most nervous about visiting? Drop your answer in the comments below, because I want to see what you guys think. Now, let's cross the border into the United States, because while the street violence drops, the stadium logistics here can straight up ruin your trip. The United States, where stadium logistics can strand you. Crossing into the United States, the safety equation flips completely, and the stadium logistics become the hidden trap that could derail your entire World Cup experience. FIFA enforces a strict clear bag policy across all 16 World Cup 2026 stadiums in the US, Canada, and Mexico. Backpacks, large purses, and opaque bags are almost always turned away. I learned this lesson watching travelers get refused entry at a test event in Miami. Their designer handbags and travel backpacks meant a $200 Uber ride back to their hotel, and missing the first half of the match. The bag restrictions are more severe than most international travelers expect. Ticket holders can only bring bags made from transparent plastic, vinyl, or PVC, allowing security staff to easily inspect the contents without opening them. The maximum permitted size is 12 inches by 6 inches by 12 inches. FIFA has confirmed that stadiums will not provide bag check or storage services. If you show up with a non-compliant bag, you will have to take it all the way back to your hotel or car. That means budgeting time and money for multiple trips if you get this wrong. The stadium locations themselves present transportation challenges that could leave you stranded. MetLife Stadium, hosting the final, sits in East Rutherford, New Jersey, not New York City. I tested the journey during a regular season game, and taking an Uber from Manhattan costs $150 to $200 each way during surge pricing. The smart move? Take NJ Transit from Penn Station. But here's a crucial catch for international visitors. New Jersey bars require a physical passport to buy alcohol if you're a foreigner. Your local driver's license won't work. San Francisco's safety reality contradicts the tech city image completely. Car break-ins dropped more than 50% recently compared to previous years, down from over 20,000 down to roughly 8,500. But even with these improvements, don't leave anything valuable or visible in your car. Thieves specifically target vehicles in tourist areas. The real shock? Levi's Stadium isn't in San Francisco. It's 45 miles south in Santa Clara. If you book a hotel in the city thinking you can walk or take a quick ride to the game, you're looking at over an hour each way on Caltrain. I made this mistake during my scouting trip and nearly missed kickoff despite leaving 3 hours early. Los Angeles presents the opposite challenge. Massive urban sprawl where everything takes twice as long as expected. SoFi Stadium in Inglewood is heavily secured on game days, but the surrounding neighborhoods require careful navigation after dark. The traffic reality means leaving 4 hours before kickoff isn't paranoid. It's necessary. During my test run for a game, what should have been a 45-minute drive took 2.5 hours. The East Coast cities offer more predictable transportation, but their own safety considerations. Philadelphia's Kensington neighborhood is strictly off-limits. I've walked through it during daylight for research, and even with police presence, it's genuinely dangerous. Stick to Center City and Old City, where Lincoln Financial Field connects easily via the Broad Street Line subway. Boston represents the safest end of the U.S. spectrum, with straightforward transit from South Station to Gillette Stadium via special event trains. But book these tickets early. They sell out. And driving to Foxborough during game day creates parking nightmares that can cost $100 to $150. Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz Stadium showcases how urban planning can work for major events. The MARTA train drops you right at the stadium gates, and downtown is genuinely walkable during the day. But avoid walking alone at night in unlit areas. Atlanta's crime rates run higher than the U.S. average, and that difference becomes noticeable after dark. Miami, Houston, and Seattle follow a similar big city pattern. In Miami, the Hard Rock Stadium is far north in Miami Gardens, requiring official ride shares or FIFA shuttles. Watch out for overcharging in South Beach bars. In Houston, the light rail takes you straight to NRG Stadium, but the summer heat is brutal. In Seattle, Lumen Field is right next to downtown, making it highly walkable, though you should maintain basic awareness around 3rd Avenue. Essential pro tips for solo travelers. This safety spectrum isn't about avoiding certain cities. It's about calibrating your awareness to match each environment. The same casual approach that works perfectly in Toronto could leave you vulnerable in Guadalajara. For solo travelers, especially solo female travelers navigating these massive crowds and transit systems, preparation is your best tool. Before your trip, take a moment to learn a few basic self-defense skills. You don't need to become an expert, but knowing how to create distance, draw attention, escape a grab, and trust your instincts can drastically increase your confidence. Consider carrying a discreet safety accessory. like a smart necklace, bracelet, or keychain that can send an alert and your live location to chosen emergency contacts with a quick press. Just make sure to test it before your trip and verify it works with an international data plan where you're going. Always share your travel itinerary with someone you trust back home, and listen to your gut. Canada, your safe haven strategy. Finally, if you want a break from the logistical chaos and intense safety protocols, Canada is your safe haven. Canada ranks as the safest of the 3 host countries, with violent crime rates in Toronto and Vancouver a fraction of comparable US cities. But even in these oases, there are specific spots that demand your attention. When I stepped off the SkyTrain in Vancouver, the first thing that hit me was how effortlessly safe it felt to navigate. But here's what the tourism boards won't tell you. In Vancouver, I learned a lesson the hard way when I accidentally wandered into East Hastings Street during my first visit. While Vancouver scores incredibly high on global safety ratings, that single street represents the city's homelessness and addiction crisis epicenter. It's not dangerous in terms of violent crime against tourists, but it's visually shocking and something you want to mentally prepare for or simply avoid. The stadium logistics here work perfectly in your favor. BC Place sits right downtown, and Canada's pushing a strict transit-first policy for game days. I tested the SkyTrain system during a major event, and it's genuinely impressive. Clean, fast, and drops you directly at the venue. The key insight? Don't even think about driving. The city designed the entire experience around public transit. Toronto follows the same pattern but amplifies the positives. With excellent public transit through the TTC subway and streetcar systems, it's routinely ranked among the world's safest major cities. BMO Field sits right by the lake with direct transit connections. The biggest risk I encountered? Pickpockets in crowded transit hubs during rush hour. Standard big city awareness stuff. Conclusion: you do not need to travel scared. You just need to travel prepared. The US cities range from Boston's comfortable walkability to LA's sprawling complexity. Canada offers transit-friendly safety, and Mexico rewards those who plan their transport meticulously. Which city are you most excited to visit, and which stadium do you think will have the best vibe? Let me know down in the comments. I've also put together a completely free, detailed safety and logistics guide built on what I actually tested in each host city, not tourism board promises. You can grab that at the link down in the description below. Safe travels, enjoy the matches, and I'll see you in the next video.